Welcome back to Farmbiz with Markay. Now, this is the late hour of day 13 since we stocked these birds, Cobb 500 from Zatek Hatchery. Now, these birds, the way I'm looking at them, they are looking very, very impressive, which is expected. Now, what am I going to be talking about in this video today? I'll be talking about uniformity. That word shouldn't be strange to you if you have been raising broilers for some time, but maybe you are a beginner, you are like a bit surprised. Okay, what's uniformity all about? Now, to really explain uniformity to you properly, imagine this number of birds that I have in each of these partition, about 40 something of them. All of them becoming of the same size, or all of them weighing about almost the same weight each. So you imagine how the output is going to be like. Now, that is what we fight to achieve as farmers, as broiler farmers. That's what we fight to achieve. That is that uniformity. For instance, if I take the weight of one of the, if I weigh this, if this is giving me 500, imagine out of about 50 birds, 45 of them, they are giving me close to that 500 gram, 500 gram, 500 gram by this day 13, day 14. That would be so impressive. But in a situation whereby out of this 50, you are having about 15 or 20 of them giving you that massive weight, that is that 500 gram by this day 14, for instance, by this day 13, for instance, why over 30 something of them giving you around 300 gram. That would be so poor. This doesn't just happen because okay, the chicks they supplied you was of a very poor quality. No, you have missed it at some point for you to have been getting this variation in the weight by this time. Now, how do you really maintain this uniformity? It doesn't start by the time you get to week 2, by the time you get to week 3, week 4. That's not when you start working on the uniformity of your flock. No, you actually start it from day one. Day one, that's when you actually start to work on the uniformity, so that, because that's actually your selling price. Imagine raising about 200 birds. Out of those 200, you have about 180 of them giving you 3 kg or 2.9, between 2.9 kg to 3.1 kg by that day 35. That would be so wow, so impressive. That is what we are trying to achieve. Now, if you understand the game properly, that is the method, the system that we normally use, you will know that achieving that uniformity is not a game of chance. What do you need to do by that day one, so that you won't be missed out, you won't miss out from this uniformity I'm talking about whenever you stock your day old chicks? Now, the very first thing you do, if these chicks, if they are competing for feed, competing for waters, that variation in their weight will be very, very large. In other words, your uniformity will be affected. What do I mean? You see some of them eating where others are supposed to be eating, because some do bully some, and because you have an inappropriate feeder, that is insufficient number of feeders and drinkers, some will go and just rest in one corner until those other ones they have finished eating before they will come and start eating. And if care is not taken, by the time they see them eat again, before you know it, they will come and harass them. In other words, those ones will be reducing in weight on a daily basis, while the very few ones that are bullying the other ones will be achieving that massive weight. That's not what you want. To solve this right from day one, you need to ensure that you make use of appropriate number of tray feeders. I always use tray feeder because I always want them to have that their natural instinct of scratching, picking feed and all of that. Though some farmers, they do go against this, that okay, it leads to some wastage of feed. I know that wastage of feed they are talking about. To me, I know how to manage it properly. How do I manage this wastage? By feeding in bits. That's also one other thing I need to talk about in this video. It's not just about having appropriate feeder. You might have appropriate feeder, at the end you spend more than the amount of feed you are supposed to achieve a certain weight. You spend more. So I'm going to be addressing all of that in this video. Now, I give them that tray feeders. Before now, what I normally do, I spray some feed on the carton that I place on top of my bedding materials by that day one. But at the time, I discovered that, okay, that also leads to some wastage of feeds because they will pull on some of them, match them, and all of that. At the end, I will end up losing some feed to that stuff. But what I now did, I ensured that there is more than enough tray feeder for them to be eating from. Though the stress of coming to remove poo from those tray feeders and all of that is there, but my aim is that massive weight, that uniformity by day 7, day 14, day 21, and invariably by disposal. That is my aim. So I keep removing that poo, feeding a bit. That is the method you need to employ if you have to. If what you are looking at is uniformity, you need to keep feeding a bit. Give them little by little. What do you think they can finish within 2 to 3 hours? Give it to them. In terms of feed, I don't mean water, because I'm coming to talk about the water. Now you feed them bit by bit. Don't just pack the feed there for them to start eating and then go out. No. Now you need to give them bit by bit. Before you know it, you'll be seeing it. Now the appropriate feeder I talked about. Now you don't need to. The stress can be introduced to your chicks as a result of not using the right feeder at any point in time. What do I mean? For instance, you remember the day we introduced this bigger feeder wasn't from day one. I think it was around day 7, day 6. I think day 7, day 8, I can't really remember. It's within that period that I normally introduce this big feeder. Imagine introducing it by day 3 or day 4. They won't be able to pick feed from this feed easily. That will lead to stress for them. That will lead to your chicks not having that uniform weight within the time period you are looking at. So to avoid that, ensure you use the right feeder at the right time. What are the right feeder you are supposed to use at the right time? If you've been following my video, this is flip top feeder that you can easily open, people feed there for them to be eating from. But in my case, from my experience, I discovered that they don't normally start picking feed easily from this flip top feeder from day one. So if I introduce it from day one, most of them will not be able to pick feed from this flip top feeder. That might lead to affect their weight or affect the uniformity. So what I do by day 2, I introduce this flip top feeder. By that day 2, all of them, they can easily pick feed from this flip top feeder. Day 1 is when I actually use tray feeders. Very, very important. But some farmers, they put this from day 1, but I don't normally use this by day 1. I make use of this tray feeders by day 1, then introduce this by day 2. Then from day 3, day 4, I introduce this other one. This is how I manage my feeders, because with this, they don't waste my feed much by the time I introduce this, though some of them will still spray some wood shave or sawdust inside this feeder, but I keep removing it so that they don't waste my feed much. So this is how you need to manage your feeder. You don't just have to use one feeder till you dispose your best. No, that will not do your best good, because the variation in weight, you see them massively. So you need to use the appropriate feeder at the right time. Now, the feeding method you should employ, because you can actually use the appropriate feeder and still not achieve this uniformity in weight. You need to apply that feeding in bits, feeding little by little. You don't just have to dump it there until they are about 3-4 weeks before you can now put food there for them that they can eat for about 6 hours or so. Now, that's the method, feeding a bit, while maintaining that ad libitum. What do I mean by ad libitum? Now, ad libitum is feeding continuously 24/7. Let the feed be there for them. Because over the night, if you've been waking up to check on your chicks and all of that, you see them eating late in the night. So once they are a bit tired, they go and rest. You see all of them resting. After a while, they face the food again. Before you know it, they are eating seriously. Now, that's the feeding method we employ, feeding in bits while maintaining that ad libitum. Now, another thing you also need to look out for is drinkers. You must not use insufficient drinkers. Now, if you've been following this video, this particular batch that we've been raising from day 1, just before I started the whole thing, I know one nipple drinker, according to research, can take care of about 30 to 50 chicks. I said no. in my case, because I always assume that I wasn't there when this research, when this practical was carried out, and they now discovered that, okay, one nipple drinkers can comfortably take care of about 30-40 chicks. And the environment they carry out that their research might not be the same with mine. So what I do in my case, I reduce that number drastically. What do I mean? For these 50 chicks, if you remember from day one, I decided to use 5 nipple drinkers for each set. That is 10 chicks to 1 nipple drinker. Now, at a time, which is more than enough for them, but at a time, I decided to introduce the bed drinkers to each of the sets. That bed drinkers, according to research, can take about 50 chicks. That is for the first few weeks. But I don't want to risk that. I introduced that bed drinkers in addition to these 5 nipple drinkers in each set, which is more than enough. That is for the watering system. That is, wherever they are in any part of this pen, they should be able to have access to good, clean drinking water at all times, wherever they are. They don't need to travel. Okay, they need to run it some distance before they will be able to have access to drinking water. No, that shouldn't happen. If that happens, it will affect their weight. It will affect their uniformity. Now, that is for the drinkers, having enough drinkers and all of that. Do you know, if you're another thing you also need to take care of if you have to achieve this good uniformity is litter management. Managing the litter properly. I mean, these bedding materials that they normally mash, pull on, and all of that. You need to manage it properly, especially if you are doing such a poultry farming in your residence, that is in your compound. Everywhere has to be clean. You don't have to wait until the whole thing is messed up before coming to replace them. No, you don't have to wait for that, because it won't just only affect you, it will also affect the chicks. Because if the ammonia built up, that is the gas that is being emitted from those from that litter is much, it will be affecting the chicks. They won't eat much. That will lead to variation in your weight. It will lead to the weight uniformity. So to avoid that and achieve that good uniformity, you need to always change the litters as at when due. What do I mean by as at when due? There is no particular time frame. Like I always say, okay, you need to change your litters every week. You need to change your litters every two weeks. No. If you observe that you just replace your litters in about 5 days, the whole thing is getting messed up, pack out the whole thing, replace it with a fresh one. If it could even stay up to like a week or even 8 days, depending on how messy it is. So you can pack it out and replace. This is very, very important, because if the environment they are, especially in a deep litter system, is favorable for them, you see them eat, you see them drink, you see them play up and down, and then the result will be massive weight for you. This is how you ensure good uniformity among your flocks. Now, if you also followed us from day one, since when we received this batch of birds, you discover that our average weight was about 39.8, which is somehow low, because for some that average weight was very, very low for us. Then some chicks were even weighing as low as that 38 gram and all of that, but we were still able to manage them and then achieve that weight that we got by day 7. That is for this side of that we are using New Hope, we got about 222.8 gram. Then the breedware end, we got about I think 206 point something gram. While that of Ultima Plus, we got about 205 point something gram. You could see we've actually done what we are supposed to do to optimize their weight and the uniformity. Now, another thing that is going to be surprising to you is the average weight that we are going to get by the end of this day 14. So I know it's still going to exceed expectation. Based on what I am saying right now, the size of the chicks I am saying right now is going to exceed that weight. I'm so sure. I'm so sure, because some of these chicks are already giving me over 500 grams. Some of them. And looking at them, the uniformity is superb. Very, very impressive. Now, another thing for you to also ensure good uniformity among your flocks is spacing. You don't have to, you may give them the right number of feeder, give them clean water, give them the best professional feed. If the spacing is not good, that is, they have insufficient space, they don't have enough space to move up and down, no ventilation and all of that, I can tell you the uniformity will be affected, and that will hit negatively your profit invariably. So give them enough space. I know from research that okay, between this first week to like 3 or 4 weeks, each bed is supposed to take about 0.25 square feet. I don't normally take those mathematics into consideration because I can't continue to come and be measuring my pen and all of that. But that is where my physical observation comes in. When I give them space, I observe them. How are they? Are they free? Can they run around freely within that space that I give them? Are they happy, eating, resting, and all of that within that space? If I observe it physically, I ensure, okay, this is good. I cannot leave them. But if I observe that the space is too small, I adjust my partition so that I can create more space for them. Now, another thing you can also use to know that if the spacing that you give to your chicks is enough is this. You observe that within 1 day or within 48 hours that you create that space for them, you'll be experiencing a whole lot of ammonia buildup. That's to tell you that the spacing is too small for them. You need to expand the space. You need to give them more space. Very, very important. If you have to achieve good uniformity among your flock, spacing can never be overemphasized. You need to give them that space so that they can invariably give you that weight that you are looking for. Another thing you also need to take into consideration is sorting, because uniformity will never be complete without talking about sorting. Does it mean right from day one we should start sorting our chicks? No. Sorting can never be done from day one. No, you don't need to do that. Now, in my case, some farmers may have their own time that they do sorting, but in my case, I normally start doing sorting by week 3. That's when I start sorting my chicks into different sizes. That's when I start sorting them. So when I sort by week 3, at times 2 methods I normally use. I can decide to use scale if the chicks are not much, like this particular one that we have in each of these set now. I can decide to use scale, weigh them, whichever one is within the same range or in terms of weight. I move them to one side and leave the other one in the existing pen. Now, another way I also carry out this is physical observation, or that is when I look at any chicks, I lift it up a bit. I in a way use my brain to check, okay, this weight is within the same range with this. I use that to sort them. That's how I do sorting. I start that by week 3. After day 14, that's when I start that. Now, the next time I will do sorting, though sorting is a continuous process, like I always say, it's not something you just do once and then go and rest. No. Because as you sort and leave the other ones there, if there were bullies among the chicks, that means you have moved the bullies because they must be among the shooters. You have moved them to one side. Those other ones that were being bullied now have chance to move around freely, eat, do what they want to do. Before you know it, within the shortest time, they will come off weight. As they come off weight again, I observe that, okay, these ones have come off weight. I pick them and move them to where I sorted the bigger ones to. That's how I do the sortings continuously. Another important time that I carry out sorting, I do sorting, is when I'm about selling. This is very, very important. You don't need to joke with this. If you have to maximize profit in your poultry production, before you sell, you need to sort again. Very, very important, because among those other shooters that you have, you still have some a bit slow. The one I will call the slow growing one, but they are big, but not as big as some other ones. You sort the bigger ones to one side again, and then leave the smaller one to one side, and then assign your different price tag. With that, you are sure to maximize profit in your poultry production. That is after sorting just before sale. Even the buyers, as soon as they come, they will know, oh, okay, this farmer understands what he's doing. He understands the secret in the trade. So that is about sorting. Now, I remember in the past, while using this method of feeding in bit, a farmer asked me, how much feed did you not give to your chicks? Did they eat more than what they are supposed to eat? The answer was no. Now, it will impress you that since we stocked these birds, I just opened the second bag for each of this set today, day 13. I just opened the second batch by the second bag of feed by this day 13, meaning we've actually maintained that 0.167 kilogram of feed each chicks is to consume by that week 1. We actually maintain that because based on my calculation, what 50 chicks is supposed to consume is about 1 bag hand. and that one bag and it's just a few gram. I know by the time we are into day 14 proper, it's just a one bag and little that each of the set is going to consume to give us this weight that we are having right now. That means we are on track in terms of the quantity of feed that we are supposed to be giving these chicks. Does it mean we have been weighing my feed before giving them? No, I don't weigh them, because I just I just know, okay, within this period, this is the quantity of feed they are to eat. But whilst feeding in bit, I am mindful of the quantity I'm supposed to spend on these birds by that first week, second week, third week, fourth week, and invariably fifth week. Uniformity among your flock, how you can maintain that uniformity. It's not a game of chance. You can, your birds, they may come somehow that, okay, the weight is not uniform, but with this method you are sure to optimize their uniformity by disposal. This is all I have for you today. Remember, this is Farmbiz with Markay. In this channel, we show you how to maximize profit in your farming through creativity. This is one of the methods. And if you find this video helpful in a way to say, thank you so very much for all you've been doing, kindly do well to hit the subscribe button if you've not done so already. Turn on the notification icon. In this way, you will be the first to receive any notification should I upload any new video. This will give us courage. This will give us morale to make more video and make such this kind of information available to you free.